Hey, everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 315 for April 10th, 2019. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host for this evening's journey into advanced tech, mobility, and sustainable energy. And with me, look at this. I mean, I feel like the service person with all the ribbons and whatnot, man. I'm like, I can be really stupid tonight, and I got a whole bunch of people to cover for me. So let's introduce them and get this show on the road. My co-host, my wingman. We often discussed his reflectivity, but that's the only mention I'm going to make of it today. Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hey there, everybody. So I have another only child brew going here. This one called Evil Tendencies. Got to see the little skull and thing there. It is nice. It is an India Pale Ale and with milk sugar, and I really like it. Hey, I want to take the opportunity to right up front to remind everyone that if you do listen to audio podcasts, make sure you find us on Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, and Spotify. Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something. Okay, so that'll do. Yeah, so yeah, I know a lot of people watch us the video, but I want to remind everyone that you can get the audio version for your drive. So there you go.
There you go. So you can listen to us on the way to work. And what more relaxing, entertaining show could you listen to?
And for those of you who are listening to the audio show, I think that's absolutely great. Do me a huge personal favor. Head over to YouTube and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. All right? Whether you ring the bell or not, I don't care. Just subscribe. That's what makes me happy.
Ring the bell too, but that's youtube.com/whatdrivesus.
Subscribing to the channel is free. You will enjoy the show or your money back.
Absolutely. We will refund 100% of your
200%. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Double your money back.
Minus, it's unbelievable. Come on.
Minus
taxes,
processing and shipping, taxing fees and handling. Yes.
Right.
Offer excluded where, prohibited by law. And speaking of prohibited by law, he is our northern source for information. He is a Model 3 driver, and he has more aero wheel covers than you have. His name is Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. And also this week, I've got some U.S. snacks.
Oh, what the hell are those?
What is that?
What's left over from your
You guys
world trip?
You guys don't get those? The Fritos Twisties?
Oh,
No.
You Canadians.
Show title.
Canadian Twisties.
What was it? Flavored Twisties?
It's a twist of freedom right there.
Flavored Twisties. Honey barbecue. Can only get them in the States. I was on a trip to Indianapolis to pick up a new set of rims and had to stop by and smuggle these back into Canada.
Did you declare them?
What's that?
Did you declare them?
I declared them delicious.
Okay, I'm texting the RCMP right now.
Yeah,
okay?
you go right ahead. Yeah, yeah, they know you. Yeah.
Ouch. Well, wow. I don't even know what to say. I don't have a segue. He is our man in the Pacific Northwest, also a Tesla owner, and a darn fine guy despite that, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello. I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association, and I hope this is a great show. Let's get it rolling.
It's always nice to have you come back, Patrick, because, your absences, we miss you.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, it has. It's definitely been a while. Well, he is the man on the road, and unfortunately, during What Drives Us, we don't get the driving Casey Green. We get the hanging at mom's Casey Green, which is good, because I'm glad he's here. He is in the midst of a Model X road trip up the eastern seaboard. And yeah, his name is still Casey Green.
Yeah. Well, you probably are glad I'm not in the Model X right now because it would be dark.
I think Patrick did that once, and it seemed to work okay.
Oh, okay. Well,
Driving
maybe on the way back
or something. I don't remember. Did you have a dome light on or something, Patrick?
I don't think it was that late, actually.
Was that Comic-Con? Was that right?
No. It was coming home from work one day or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know you've done that a couple of times, like in the Leaf.
The problem with the dome light on the Model X is it's backlit.
Yeah, that would be bad. Well, Yeah. Last and certainly not least, he is the founder, owner, and operator of Boulder Hybrids. You can find them at Boulder HC, or if you want to buy a car, boulderh.com. His name is Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, everybody.
Cool cat.
Yeah, glad to be back.
Yay! Well, we do have a few things to talk about, so let's get this show on the road. And we're going to start. Oh, Tony.
What?
Tony, do you want to talk about what you were driving this week, or do you want to wait?
Oh, I will tease. I know I had mentioned this last week, and
tease it.
Approved
teaser.
No. I don't have, like, you make teasers. I don't have that.
Oh, okay.
I do sort of have a teaser, I suppose. Let me see if I.
No, you don't have to.
This. So this is what I was driving this week, a Kia Niro EV. Now, usually when we get media cars, they have the sticker and it has all the information in it, including price. I didn't get one of those this time. This was just a marketing little pamphlet that showed features and functions and things like that. The reason being, Kia hasn't even announced pricing for these yet. So that's really cool. They're expected.
Do they exist?
Well, I was driving one, so I know they exist. And a lot of articles online about them. But the really cool thing, and the reason I put this picture up, for one, I love the dashboard. I love that it's muted. It takes really good pictures, and it's easy to look at. But this car is rated at 240 miles on a charge. So seeing 268 miles of range right there, and after having driven 22.7 miles means about 290 potential miles of range. Now, I wasn't driving 290 miles. You know, I was driving 22 miles to and from work. But what this means is, you know, I could go several days. And in particular, since I can charge at work for free, yay me, literally, I could drive this thing and never have to pay for fuel.
That's pretty cool.
So they being the people who know things, are expecting the first package trim to be in the mid to high 30s. The thought is about 37.5, and then after 7,500, it comes down to 30,000 even. And the second trim that has all the creature features, they're saying 45, maybe 47. So bring that down to about 40,000.
Wow.
And in Colorado, I think that you get it for like
an extra $5,000 in Colorado.
Okay. Yeah. Add a bag of weed, add a 6-pack. Yes. So I had the PHEV last year, and the review is up on the What Drives Us YouTube channel. And if you remember, I absolutely loved that car. My wife loved that car. But the one thing that was horrific about that car was the double clutch 6-speed transmission. That was questionable. Why? It was badly implemented. And the transition from EV to internal combustion engine was just abhorrent. That's why I wanted to get my hands on the EV. It's a pure EV. It drives like a pure EV. It's so much fun.
And you don't need a 6-speed transmission to make it work.
Right. It's just like we expect an EV to be. And for, $30,000 to $40,000, something with 53 cubic feet of cargo space with the seats down, seats 5 comfortably, plus the cargo space in the back, the hatchback, the heated ventilated seats, a whole bunch of really cool stuff. I honestly think this is a extremely important car to come to the U.S. market, because I think this is going to change minds as much as Tesla has been changing minds.
Yeah, the market needs choices. So having more brands out there, more car styles, that's all good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Tony, how would you say Kia isn't known for quality feel. How would you rate the build quality on this car?
Solid. So many years ago, I had the Hyundai hybrid, and I loved it. Shocked me. It was the first Hyundai I'd driven in like 15 years. And I was shocked at how well that car was built. And then Wait, and then I got the Nero PHEV last year, and again, I felt it was really well put together. And this one
Didn't
again,
feel
I think,
cheap and plastic.
no, not at all, not at all. And that was one of the things I called out in one of my videos. So I'm doing 2 reviews. One is a ride along review in which I'm driving and you're just kind of riding along with me, and I'm telling you what I like. The other one is a walk around review. It's just your standard moving pictures and a voiceover. But one of the things I call out is just how nice the car feels. And I mean, I realize I'm talking to a bunch of EV enthusiasts, so I really don't have to convince you guys, how great it is to drive an EV. But I'm really targeting people who might be researching because they're curious, they're EV curious. And I really just wanted to put people's minds at ease to say that just like any other car, you just get in and you drive it. And, this is a great car for someone who, it might be their second car. Again, you got mom, dad, a couple of kids, some soccer gear in the back, and you just go. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the way we used the Leaf for the longest time. We still had the Prius and we still had an SUV, but the Leaf was our car that we just drove most of the time because most trips are errands and work and commuting and stuff that you can do with an EV. And it was just having it as a second car. It quickly became our primary car, and now we're all EV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and then even people at work, it's kind of funny. People now are catching on the fact that I'll have these cars for a week at a time, and they'll always hit me up like, "Hey, is that yours out there? And what do you think?" And when I tell them that this one's pure EV, and they're like, "Well, okay, but it only gets 250 miles, whatever." and I said, my other car is
But you never buy gas because you charge it at work.
well,
Yeah.
right. I don't tell them that because then they'll be like, "Well, hey, how come he doesn't have to pay for fuel?" Because I've gotten that argument. But when they talk about having to go long distances, I ask them how many cars they have, because he has a car, she has a car, and I say,
how many times a year do you drive to California?
Well, exactly. But I've said this many times. My hometown is 275 miles away. My wife's hometown is just under 300. So guess which car we're not taking on those trips? It's pretty much that simple.
Right. And even, so I don't know what the charging network for that one is. I assume it's CCS. If you had to stop and make one 25-minute charge and then stop in the middle, that would probably be no problem on a 300-mile trip.
Yeah, it's certainly no supercharger, but at 50 kilowatt DC fast charging, they say 75 minutes, 0 to 80%. And it's already pre-configured for 100 kilowatts, and they're saying 0 to 80% in under an hour.
Awesome. Yeah, that's smart for them to future-proof it like that. The CCSs that are out there now are only 50, but there will be faster ones coming. So
yeah,
that's good.
There you go. Well, look forward to that review soon, coming to youtube.com/whatdrivesus. And yeah, I know I have to say it. And if you're a subscriber, you are automatically notified every time Tony posts one of his amazing reviews.
If you push the bell.
If you push the bell. Thank you.
Yeah, so Russell, you mentioned how I haven't been on the show for a while, but I have been watching a lot of the, you guys have been doing these clips from the show, and I think that is just awesome. That's for YouTube, that's the right amount of time to have, 3 to 5 minute videos and chopped up and sit out there.
The ADD version.
It is. That's what this generation needs, and I include myself in that.
Well, and 100% of the credit for that idea and for all the work involved goes to Tony Schaefer.
Well done, Tony.
Thank you. Yeah,
Good work.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it. Thanks.
No, thank you. And yeah, people are watching them, and that's cool. If you want to take it in small bites, great.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Patrick. The shorts combined get more views than the shows they came out of.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, you're watching it live. You get to have the fun in the chat room, and you get to help name the show, which you don't get that in the shorts.
That's exactly true. Yeah. And don't worry, I'll cut all this out.
Who wears short shorts?
Well, I just initially, there was one little story that I wanted to mention because I've talked like this before. It's long been my contention on this show that oil is too important to burn in individual vehicles running around doing things. We need oil for lots of things. It's an important resource, and it's horrible to get at. It takes work. It's messy. It pollutes to use it, but it's still important. It's still something that we need. Norway, a country that has an enormous amount of oil, billions of barrels of oil, has decided to not drill for more oil.
Wow.
Now, not completely. They are closing down one huge refuge in the Arctic, and they're not going to drill. It'll be there if they want it. They can go get it, which is the amazingly smart thing about leaving it in the ground. They're going to keep getting oil from other areas that already exist, but they're not going to expand that. And obviously that is totally pissed off some folks in Norway whose jobs it is to drill for oil. And I understand that, but I'm not super sympathetic to it because in the long run, I think this is the completely right decision.
Like you said, we use oil for a lot of stuff. I mean, people don't even think about all the materials it goes into and fertilizer and drugs. And it's a massive part of our economy.
And plastics to pollute the ocean.
Yeah, I skipped that one kind of on purpose, but thank you for.
If we can't make plastic.
Gee, thanks for bringing me down, Paul.
Plastic has many important applications. The disposable cup that goes into the ocean is not one of them.
That the whales eat and die.
Yeah.
Just keep going. So hasn't Norway done this in the past? Like, wasn't that the beauty of it being government property and them not being for profit? Is that a couple times they've not put out the max output to the same arguments every time, like, oh well, it's our job to find the oil. Why don't we burn it all while the Saudis do? And it's worked out well for them so far. So if this is the same sort of decision making, I say it's worked in the past. Let them do their thing.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. They have done this in the past, and to the exact same responses, and they just keep doing it because, well, they can.
Yeah.
I just heard one of our officials bragging about how much oil and natural gas we were extracting from the ground here on the ride up. They had a news flash, and I was like, "Oh, great!"
Yeah, that's not something you brag about. You know how much we're polluting?
He brags about the most incredible things.
There a few months back. Well, it was actually last year. I was up visiting our friend Chelsea Sexton up in LA, and we went to a beach that I like, Dockweiler Beach. Tony's been there with me. Mm-hmm. It's right at the end of the runways on LAX, but it also is near something else, which is one of the oil fueling stations that come out from the refineries and go to the ship, and this pipeline goes under there. So anyway, you're like, where is he going with this? Chelsea and I were walking around on the beach, having a nice day, just chatting, enjoying the beach. And when we got done,
crude,
there was oil tar balls stuck to our feet in the sand. They wash up from the fueling thing. And this is one's fueling station. This isn't, you know what I mean? So you really have to look at the impact this stuff has on us. It's not just the burning, it's the horrible chemicals that we're pumping into the ground to extract more oil. It's what we do to the water table. It's all of that. We need to use it wisely.
And if using if using oil to make plastics is the lead argument, then we can make bioplastics. We can use sugarcane. We can use bamboo. We can use so many other products to create some of the things that we've come to rely on. We don't necessarily 100% need petroleum for those products.
We can recycle what we've got.
That's a great point.
There's so many things. Yeah, I still am predicting. I'm going to predict it until it comes true, and then I'll be able to say that I was a soothsayer. One of these years, we will start mining the landfills.
Not landmines. Yeah,
The landmines,
landfills.
not the landmines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
you.
would be very
In
good.
the 50s,
Yeah.
they threw away all kinds of stuff that we would not be putting in landfills today.
Oh yeah, and I'm just saying, there's so much aluminum and copper, heavy elements, so many things that are going to be so much more valuable in the future are buried underground in landfills. We will start mining those as a society. Just wait, it's going to happen.
We could have a solar-powered skimmer in the ocean to get some of that plastic back too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely. At some point, that will be a potentially profitable enterprise, at which point then we'll actually take throwing all of our trash into the ocean seriously. Let me move on to the next one just to kind of keep things rolling. Every once in a while, I come across an article that is exceptionally stupid. And Brett Kenwell writing.
Hold on a second, Russell. I was not expecting your sentence to end that way, and it totally caught me off guard. Because I know you like exceptionally well written, thoughtful articles, and I thought for sure that's where you were going.
Yeah, no, it wasn't, but there it is.
This was the opposite of that.
Brett Kenwell, writing for the Street. .com wrote an article about Uber and Lyft and Waymo and who's going to be first and who's going to be cool and all that. And I, just read through it as I tend to do. And then I got to this sentence, and I'm going to read a little bit more of it. Just because we can. Anyway, from the article, quote, Uber can get me to the airport for $45, but Lyft says it can do it for $39. For many, the only difference here is $6, even if some prefer one brand over the other. These companies say the solution to the price war is autonomous driving. Once Uber and Lyft only need to maintain a fleet of driverless taxis, they won't be stuck collecting just a percentage of the fare. Wait for it. They'll get the whole thing. Unquote. That is the goddamn dumbest thing I have heard in years since the dust to dust surveys that we talked about on the Tesla Life show. Of course, it costs nothing to build, develop, and deploy fleets of driverless cars
And maintain them.
Yeah, it costs nothing. That's the only cost is the driver.
Yeah.
Well, that goes with our Lyft IPO, like Dumbassville.
Yeah.
And just for those out there, the stock is at $60 a share for Lyft. And it was a high of 83 a couple weeks ago. So
yeah, it's dropping on Uber's pending IPO.
Yeah.
They're both doomed. They both don't have a sustainable business model. And the whole idea is that getting rid of drivers is somehow going to make them profitable, which...
Because the drivers right now are supplying the car. That's a huge asset.
The car and the gas and, like Casey said, the maintenance and all of that stuff. So they would be taking out the labor cost, but picking up all the maintenance and development costs.
But this is where our buddy Muskie gets it right. You still own the car and the maintenance, and they collect the skim off the top, and they have no other costs other than maintaining the cellular connection.
Is that the right way? I guess we're going to find out.
Well, if the autonomous cars is the right way, their way makes it so they don't own the fleet. So that part
yeah.
Right. Oh, and they get paid to service it.
That's funny. So yeah, if we were in a world where everybody has autonomous cars, which model would you rather be a shareholder for? Yeah, that's a good point.
And again, over and over again, I've tried to make this point as vividly as I can. So please forgive me for making this point again. Hey, you want to buy a, let's call it anywhere between $35,000 and $120,000 Tesla so that you can be a member of the autonomous driving ride sharing community. Go ahead. Just keep in mind that while your robot is out there earning you a few bucks, it's going to end up looking like a public toilet. Okay.
And it will depreciate even faster.
Yeah. Just imagine the fun you're going to have at the end of every day when your car comes back to pick you up from work and it's been earning dollars.
$6 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oh god,
Driving around drunk, sick college kids.
Ugh.
So you remember the story we did a couple months ago? Paul did this about the woman who gave birth in a Prius.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that babies are made in autonomous Teslas.
Yeah.
I would rent one and do that. Yeah. Especially if I knew
So
who
what do
it
they
was.
call that? The
The second wagon.
Mile Zero Club? Or the,
I would use the Model 3 for that with that built-in camera. Not that you can stop anything, but you know who
Yeah.
messed up your car and
Well-
maybe who damages for.
Let's take that apart for just a second. Let's
There's another revenue stream.
Yeah, right,
Live
sure.
camera.
Sure it is. You go ahead and use some video that you have of two people doing the big ugly.
No,
and
not that.
Yeah.
I mean, literally,
Go ahead.
you know who
Go ahead and
has
wait till
messed
the
up your
FBI
car.
comes up at your house to go, hey, we're taking you to jail, pornographer.
you put a tiny sign on the dash that says all activities are recorded and will be
Yes.
broadcast for commercial use.
Yes.
By riding in this car, you agree to these terms.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Okay, I have to say, and I absolutely, I do not remember where this was, and I don't have the time right now to look it up because we'll be 3 stories later. There was a city that had a problem with public urination, and they put up live webcams, and the problem went away. Just saying.
I thought that was going to go another way. The problem got twice as bad. And there were federal cases.
And that's
made
where
out of it.
Pornhub.com started.
They had to take down the cameras next week. Yeah.
I definitely, I mean, and I don't think people have thought this thing through. It's just a rush because it's cool. It's technology. It's that sort of like marking out our territory. Like if we're the biggest, we're definitely going to be the, maybe not.
I read another article they must have read the same one as you because they had the same thought. They're like, well, if everything is XYZ with an app, how does that make it any better? And just because you're the first to $1 billion, how does that make it a viable business? And then they're like, what other things can we ruin? It's dinner with an app.
Right.
Yeah, so we often say don't take stock advice from us on this show, but
Of course not.
I will go with Paul's view of these stocks.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only stock advice you can take from us. If you buy Uber or Lyft, you're a dumbass. You can take that to the bank.
There's nothing wrong with companies that have aren't profitable yet but have growing revenue. But I just don't see a solution here where they get to.
If you need a tax write-off, because Lyft is now down 30% from their IPO price.
There you go. And there's lots of ups and downs, too. I mean, look at Tesla.
But it's trending down.
Yeah.
For now, it's still brand new. And I'm not saying it's going to go back up. I'm just saying, and there's money to be made, right, Patrick?
If you do it right.
Oh yeah, on both sides. You
On
can,
both sides,
Mhm.
shorting or sticking with it.
But before they went public, every year they were losing almost $1 billion of their VC's money. So now they're losing public money.
Mm-hmm. And right now, there's some Tesla shorters out there going, "Damn, I could have ridden that train into the ground."
Right. Yeah.
There's still time.
Yeah. It's still at 60. You've got a long way to go.
Yeah, it's got a ways to go before zero.
So, final and I'm going to take a break and stop talking for a minute. We love to talk about car dealers because as mobility enthusiasts, each and every one of us, there's nothing we love more than a car dealer.
I didn't even like them when I was one.
Yeah, Mark's ignoring that. That was good. So I was obviously just delighted, and I don't mean and that I take pleasure in someone else's pain because I don't. Automotive News today published a story that I thought was fascinating. Danielle Zatkowski is the author, and this happened at a Chevrolet dealership in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Apparently, a disabled person who had lost part of their leg and was paralyzed on one side, got a settlement for the whatever it was that created their injuries. They didn't go that deep, which is fine. It's not important. It's needless to say that this person got a decent amount of money because those are pretty horrific injuries, losing part of your leg, being paralyzed. And one of the things this person did was went and bought a Chevrolet at the Chevrolet dealership in Chattanooga. At which point that person's salesman, named Daniel Bryant, Mr. Bryant proceeded to kidnap this person and take that person around town to their banks, withdrawing almost $200,000 from their various bank accounts. That's the extra sales after service or service that Chevrolet provides.
That's the extended warranty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, is that going to happen to you if you go to a car dealership? Yes, it probably will.
Right.
You will get hosed in some way, shape, or form. That's all I got.
The crazy thing is he took out nearly $200,000 in cash and cashier's checks.
Yeah.
Which means it wasn't just going to the ATM. You have to go in, talk to people, tell them what you want, wait for it to be done. I mean, this is a complicated multi-step endeavor.
Pretty heinous, actually. I mean, the idea that you would, okay, I just made a commission on this truck, but there is so much more I could get.
The one sentence that just flabbergasts me is the dealer, Bryant has not been charged in the case.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What?
I'm sorry. Yeah. What?
Yeah, this guy obviously needs to go to jail if just on the surface what this sounds like is anywhere near true.
Kidnapping, extortion.
Yeah.
Wire fraud.
I got nothing. Anything I say here is, the attorney's already calling, and I'm just going to ignore the phone. Hey, Tony, I bet you have the next story, and I bet it's a happy story.
I do. So we're going to go up from that downer note. And we are going to talk about what the hell is Toyota thinking? That's my new segment.
Yeah, that is a new segment.
Daddy had a Honda rant, and I'm going to start a new segment. What the hell is Toyota thinking? So this actually comes from stuff.co.nz. Shout out to all the Kiwis out there. And in particular, one Kiwi friend of mine, Alistair Davis, who is the New Zealand CEO of Toyota. Not a friend of mine. So I just wanted to redact that. So he was answering some questions about why Toyota doesn't yet have, or, I shouldn't say doesn't yet have an electric vehicle, but isn't deeper in electric vehicles, because we know that they've had the RAV4, 2 different iterations of the RAV4. They had some electric vehicles way back in the day, at the time that the EV1 was being crushed. Toyota had some other EVs, but he is quoted as saying, "We don't sell EVs of any kind to any extent around the world. We've been a bit resistant to going back to EVs." And he's referring to the 1990s RAV4. Part of it is that we haven't got the cost structure right to be effective in making a real difference to climate change. The reason for EVs is principally to do with carbon footprints and climate change, but the only countries selling large volumes of EVs are heavy government subsidies, and basing a business on government incentive is slightly risky. And then he goes on to say about charging your EV is usually done with burning coal, and all you're doing is moving the fossil fuel from car to the electric company. I mean, he is, as a Toyota representative, he's checking the list of every EV opponent that's out there. And I'm thinking, okay, is he speaking for himself, or is this the actual general attitude of Toyota Global? What do you guys think?
Both.
I think Oil New Zealand is writing him checks.
Yeah.
I think he's justifying the stupid decisions that Toyota has continued to make with their anti-EV advertisements and minimal. The only thing they're doing is compliance cars at best. Finally, they have the plug-in, the Prime, Tony. I mean, as you know well, but And are they talking about that and selling that? No, they're saying, this is a technology that's not ready, and it depends on subsidies, and it pollutes anyway, and it's all just BS.
Yeah, and it's the stuff. It's the stuff we've been trying to counter for the last 15 years.
Right.
How do you think he got so high up on the Toyota chain?
Yeah.
He's just pulling the company lingo, just going along with it. That's what he's doing, checking off the boxes, and that's why he is up that high in the organization.
Oh, Bruce, I'm going to shout out Bruce in the chat did say that, and it's called out in the article here. I wonder if I could find it, that New Zealand is 80% renewable. But even as such, he argues that
it's just burning coal.
Only the 20% that are on coal will be buying EVs.
Right, exactly. And you would think New Zealand would be the perfect place to drive an EV, because can you do 250 miles in New Zealand?
Yeah, you put in 2 quick charging stations and you've got the whole island covered.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, and the people who are buying EVs are also the ones most likely to buy renewable energy or install solar panels, and that argument just doesn't. Gas refining is one of the major electricity consumers. So the amount of electricity that my car uses is about the same as any gas car. And those pollute on top of that. Before it even gets in the tank, they have about as much pollution as I do. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, I heard that some of the energy hitting your solar panel spills over, and you might get a sunburn.
Right. Yes. A solar spill is called a nice day.
I mean,
Tony, as we know, this, reporting on this stuff for 10 years on this show, this has been this is the party line at Toyota.
It's sadly
the whole time. And let's be fair, he's not entirely wrong, but that doesn't mean that it's a good position to have.
Right.
He's not entirely wrong that EVs aren't super profitable, and that, there are issues with electric vehicles, but that doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do.
I think they would make a great Lexus. I mean, they're quiet, they're smooth, and if you crank the price up that high, you can make a profit on the luxury market.
Yeah.
My God, that's a great idea. It really, you're exactly right.
But it's the percentage of profit they're looking at.
Well, I've heard of one other company who's doing 25% on a $35,000 car.
Right.
But they're making 40.
Yeah. So if they're doing it as a high-end niche, they can do it profitably. They can advance the technology. They can improve their technical prowess in that area. They can stop bashing it. They can give the people who really want that, well, here's an option for it. Well, it's not as affordable as whatever. Okay, well, that's what we have now. And as the technology progresses, it'll move down market. It's just so wrong to be bashing it like this. And we've seen it with ad after ad from them, where they have one of their cars drive by some guy who's standing there charging his car, as if people just stand there and hold the cord while they're charging, like a gas pump. It's ridiculous, some of the stuff they do. And then Toyota's also been calling their cars the self-charging hybrids. That's just ridiculous.
That's the worst.
It's gas powered, damn it.
It's a magical machine.
Charging.
Their point about the subsidies, there's 2 companies in this country right now with no subsidy, well, almost no subsidy left, that are still doing it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I want to throw out one more thing, which is this. Since their inception in 1999, a total of 1.5 million Prius family members have been sold in the U.S., and that's only in the United States. Now, I bring this up because I'm a moderator on Prius Chat. A lot of people know that. And on Prius Chat, so many Prius owners say, my next car will be full EV. Why doesn't Toyota make an EV? If you capture a quarter of this, you're having a damn good year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely. We used to have a Prius, and now we have a Tesla.
There it is.
No Toyota alternative. And it's the same with Dr. Fusco.
If Toyota doesn't do it, Kia's going to do it.
He is doing it.
Well, that's the point. And then maybe Toyota executives will say, people are buying these newfangled EVs. Maybe we should get back in that.
But, I mean, weren't the conquest sales for the Model 3 and Model S Prius, BMW, and Lexus, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know why we can all see the writing on the wall, but those high-paid execs don't see it.
I do. I think it
Why?
comes down to money. I think it comes down to money. I don't think it comes down to collusion. God, I hate that word. I don't think it comes down to oil companies or anything like that. I think it comes down to a very conservative company that only operates with technology they're super comfortable with, that is super reliable, because they understand that protecting their brand is their prime mission, and they're not going to take a flyer on something. Now, why did they do the hydrogen? Because they're in Japan, and hydrogen and the Japanese government there's reasons for that.
Exactly.
That don't make any sense. But why they haven't done an EV yet? Again, I'm appalled by it. And I've told my friends at Toyota forever that it's horrible. But the response is always lose $8,000 per car. Why should we do that?
Right.
What's the price? $8,000.
I think they lost money on the Prius originally for the first couple of years.
And that's exactly what I was going to say, Paul. And I know Russell and I have had some closed door conversations with some people who admitted flat out that yes, money was lost for the first several years on the Prius.
Yeah.
On any car.
Yeah.
Any car you make, you've got to amortize the development, the production equipment. I mean, and certainly when you're talking about a new technology, that's more difficult. But again, I think you do it for the same reason that Toyota did the Prius. You do it because it's the right thing. Right.
So I have a question. So since the fuel cell electric cars and the battery electric cars share so much, are they going to ride this thing till there's nothing left, or are they going to take the Mirai and drop that hydrogen tank and put it into batteries? Not that the Mirai is a great car by any means.
Oh, yes. I mean, that's kind of what Honda's done with the Clarity, right?
Yeah.
What's wrong with the Mirai?
It's ugly, and it's slow.
No fueling stations.
Have you driven
and
it?
There's no fueling stations.
Okay. Ugly is totally subjective. I won't argue with you. There's no fueling suggestions. You're absolutely right there. There's one in San Diego. I mean, as a car to drive, car's a blast.
But if that car was a pure EV,
it'd be amazing.
Home, it would be kick-ass.
Yeah. I drove the Clarity, and I love that car until pure BEVs came back out, and I was like, no, this is way better. Because after you floored it a couple times, you didn't have to wait for it to recharge. It just kept going.
But you do make an excellent point, Casey. When you started with hydrogen and batteries, if you just swap out the fuel source, the rest of the car is identical.
That's right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So okay, I have another angle on this article. There were three things that I thought of as I was reading this article. Alistair in New Zealand. Okay. One, he's purely talking for himself, and he hates batteries. Two, this is the official Toyota global stance. Or three, Toyota's doing something, and they're not disclosing it. Now, to remind people, Toyota bashed lithium-ion batteries for a very long time, nickel metal hydride, until they went full lithium-ion batteries out of seemingly nowhere.
Out of the Mirai or the predecessor.
Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there that maybe they really are up to something, because they have traditionally denied, and then boom, they dropped the bomb.
Well, they've said they're working on solid state batteries, and that's when they think that battery electric vehicles will be ready for prime time, and not until then. And it's no secret that they're working on it.
But see, the thing is, this guy didn't even say, we're working on it, we'll let you know when we're there. He just shut the door on EVs.
Well, right. So I think that's the right thing to say if you're not selling them today. When people are out car shopping, you want them to oh, nope, I heard this guy say there's no future there, so I'm not even going to consider them until they have a product. And then you change your marketing, and you know that people mostly have a short memory and will forget about all those things you said a few years ago.
But that's why I never considered Nissan for their hybrids. They're like, oh, hybrids are stupid. And this was Going said that. But then when they came out with the PEV, I was like, all right, well, he's been saying this is the way to go the whole time. So I looked at the Leaf. It didn't work for me. but then I considered the Leaf. But I didn't look at any Nissan hybrid because he's like, they're stupid. I'm like, well, if they don't agree, and there's no way they're going to do it right because they think it's stupid.
Right.
Well, Nissan hybrids are stupid. But
Well, I mean, yeah, but at the time they were selling a hybrid and he was calling it stupid. I'm like, well, I'm not going to consider theirs. So I bought a Prius.
And in the same vein, who remembers the car manufacturer who funded most of the think tanks that were bashing the early Prius? It was General Motors. And then who came out with a plug-in hybrid not very long after and had to debunk a lot of their own spittle that they had put out against hybrids? It was so much karma. It was hilarious.
Yeah, they really contorted their marketing to not call that a hybrid. They made up all kinds of other terms just to avoid saying those words. And went through several marketing directors on that project because it was a burnout project.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, allegedly, they were the sponsors of that dust to dust survey that we talked about again on the Tesla earlier.
So what would they call the new Toyota solid state battery? It will be the Toyota self not charging
battery.
electric something or other that's not a EV.
The Toyota Unicorn.
Yeah.
Hey.
Mr. Fusion coming soon.
I think that who was this? I am going to Russell was going to talk about the price of gas.
No, you're going to talk about Germany.
Yeah, I was skipping that.
You're skipping that?
I wouldn't go because I know we're already 47 minutes in. I didn't want to go back.
Normally I try and do this in the chat, but I know somebody brought a story that's I don't have on the list and I forgot who.
I know Paul said you had something. Mark's got something.
Let's go to Mark Coughlin.
I want to talk a little bit about a good news project that happened here in Ontario on the north shore of Lake Erie. Back in the 50s, a coal plant was built with 8 generators that would produce somewhere in the area of 4,000 megawatts when all 8 generators were online. Over time, Ontario didn't require as much of that energy. Four of those pieces were shut down, only leaving 4. And it continued to downgrade over time because the power was not needed. And just back in 2012, it was closed down. And it was the last coal plant in Ontario that closed on the shore of Lake Erie. That site recently, as in 2016, was subject to change into a solar farm, which just completed its build this month. And now it's populated with almost 200,000 solar panels on the same site. And it produces 44 megawatts of clean energy. And it's on about 260 acres of property. It's using the same power line transmission station that the coal plant used. But now it's transmitting clean power. So this was a project the former government of Ontario put in place, the Liberal government of Ontario put in place, and it just finished up here recently. And we're glad to add it to our power grid system here in Ontario.
That is so cool.
That's a great way to repurpose that real estate.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was wired with everything you needed for it, and it's a jobs program. You have to hire somebody to go brush all the snow off.
And we laugh, but I love that. I love the idea, right? That there's,
I saw somebody.
The giant Swiffer has to come out every Sunday.
I saw somebody whining about how it made less power than the coal plant.
It does. It makes less power, but Ontario does not require what the old coal plant used to. And in fact, they shut down many of the generators over time because it wasn't required.
And that's what I was going to get into. Was
the
that
neighbors aren't getting lung cancer from breathing
that too?
Yeah, that's helping out a lot. Yeah.
Right.
And the other thing is that is as time goes along, these are the installations that should hook up with Tesla or other battery plants to put in a battery installation to save the power generated through the day and distribute that at night if required. You know, these are the perfect along with wind power facilities to collect that excess power, store it, and use it when we need to through battery packs.
Yeah, and so what they were saying was, none of them even touched on the fact that you pointed this out, that they had actually shut down all of the coal plants before then, so they weren't getting anything from it. So now it's making clean power, offsetting. Another plant can run at a more efficient speed or turn off for a part of the day, and like you said, the batteries, if they need the power outside of the daytime, they can store it for later. It's the right way to go.
Yeah.
So we
certainly hope to see more of this in Ontario and surrounding regions, but we'll see how this certainly will be monitored for a long time to see how it operates, how efficiently.
And the best part about having a solar farm that large is you don't have to worry about the windmill noise cancer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or the EMF cancer.
The people I noticed in the comments, and just never read the comments anyway, but questioning the profitability and how much megawatts and all that, and it's the right thing to do. It's not the most profitable thing to do. It's the right thing to do.
Well, yeah, and it's going to be there for 20 years making power without train loads of coal coming in every day to keep it running.
Was it last show where we said that the wind power was actually cheaper now than any other power installation you could put in?
Yeah.
How is it not the right thing to do and cheapest? I mean,
well, cost per megawatt hour.
Right.
Again, cost per megawatt hour 10 years ago, maybe this thing was cheaper. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me.
Right. Because when you're looking at fossil fuels, when you say the cost, you're not looking at all the externalities.
Right.
So if you want to look at the true cost, this is way cheaper.
Oh, I'm saying they're saying that wind is cheaper now than everything else. So it's a no-brainer at this point. It's clean and it's the cheapest.
Right. Yeah.
The only thing is you add some storage and you're good if you need it.
And wind is kind of a certain thing. Like, it's pretty much going to blow consistently in that location every year for that many, megawatt hours. Where the price of oil or natural gas, you can't predict where it's going to be.
Right. It's all over the place.
Right. Also, we have a suggestion from the chat. Zachary has a great idea for keeping the solar panels clean, which is they could bring in Flufferbot, who's still looking for work, from what I understand.
I think there's a few extra Zambonis in Canada that can handle
it. Zambonis.
So just mount them at level, and you can just Zamboni them there.
Nice. I just love the idea of repurposed Flufferbot. Flufferbot, it's okay. We have something for you.
I'm going to throw out a kind of a good news story from Canada as well.
Thank you.
It's good if you're into EVs, not so good if you're into normal cars.
Have you seen this show before?
Exactly. No, I grew up in Vancouver, and lately, last week or two, Vancouver now has the highest gas price in North America.
Yay!
To run a gas car in Vancouver, it is the equivalent of $4.69 US a gallon. In Canadian dollars, that's $6.24 a gallon. And the cool thing is the government there has EV incentives to buy EVs. So I would predict they're going to sell a few more EVs in British Columbia this year because of this.
Right on.
So see, this is why Alistair Davis is in New Zealand and not Canada.
Well, because he has no product to sell in Canada.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hopefully they pull a Norway and just runaway EV sales. It's the point where the gas cars are super suppressed on resale and everything.
You're right.
Well, and if gas in this country was $4.69 a gallon, there'd be a hell of a lot more adoption on EVs. So.
Yeah,
it will be soon.
Yeah, and we have seen this in the past already. American car buyers have such terrible memories.
Yeah. Gas was over $4 a gallon in 2008 when I bought my first EV.
Yeah. When I bought my Prius, it was,
Yeah.
Wait,
and then
it's coming back.
Yeah, I know, but then as soon as it dropped down, everyone just ran back.
Buys an Escalade.
The Escalades and the supersized Suburbans and whatever. Yeah.
Hey, I'll just be glad to see those Hummers off the road again. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, believe it or not, I've seen H1s, a couple of different ones in the last few weeks, and I was like, really? Oh my God.
I saw one pulling a yard trailer the other day. Like not like a home size yard trailer, but like the professional size one.
I can't understand how people can drive those.
Well, let's wrap it up, do some shout outs, and go home because I think we've done a fine job tonight, gentlemen.
I'm not going back home tonight.
And Casey, forgive me for asking a super personal question, but please tell me that's like your boyhood bedroom that you're in.
No.
No?
Remodeled to something, yeah.
Just something else. Okay. I didn't know. I was like, oh, are we seeing like Casey history here?
I'm a military kid. There's no home.
No. Let's start with you, Casey.
Well, I got a couple of videos coming out on the channel, and then, like I said, we're going up to look at the Rivian. Hopefully, there's no anti-camera rule there, because then I'm gonna record some Rivian stuff and put it on the channel as well.
They sell these little pen cams you can get that fit in your pocket, so get one of those if there is.
There you
I like it. Yeah, so that's at youtube.com/Casey Green. It's KACEYGREN. And I appreciate you watching.
Do visit Casey's channel. It's incredible. And I'm looking forward to seeing the Rivian stuff. That'll be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Having seen them in LA last year, it was an eye-opening experience. Speaking of eye-opening, he is somewhat moodily lit, but nonetheless, let's go to Patrick Connor.
Hello. I also can't wait to see Casey's Rivian stuff. I've had a few guys at work who thought this whole EV thing was dumb come up to me and say, hey, that Rivian truck looks really interesting. Finally, they're doing something that catches my eye. So I hope all...
They'd be disappointed when it doesn't roll, Cole.
They might sell that as an add-on. You never know.
Well, they have that generator kit, so...
Yeah, the cold generator.
Well, the gas one, but they'll find a way.
Yeah, you could hook up a fog machine to it.
Yeah.
That should be an add-on. Yeah.
My car is vaping.
Big white cloud.
Yeah, so I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and we're out there on the socials, and I occasionally write at carswithcords.net.
Do follow oeva.org. Patrick is also responsible for a lot of the news that you see on our Facebook and our Twitter feed. So thank you for that, Mr. Connor. Mr. Coughlin, do you want to talk about your new used Aero wheel cover resale business?
We've got covers coming out of the woodwork.
Installation.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
How many Model 3s do you have?
Well, right now it looks like I have 2, but my car came with 8 tires somehow. But that's why I'm always looking for used Aero wheels. So if you got them out there, send them to Ontario. But
we get so many emails, right?
Oh boy!
If you would like to follow our group, we're the Waterloo Regional EVA. Follow us on Twitter at WREVA Group and see what we're up to through the month. We've got a number of activities that are happening this month. Some EV meetups and events. Please follow us there, and you can learn how to attend and see the results of them online as well.
Gotta love that. Thank you very much, Mr. Guzik.
I'll be quick. If you're in Colorado, you need your hybrid or EV serviced or repaired, check us out. If you want to buy a used hybrid or EV, check out our used car website at boulderh.com.
Definitely. Anywhere near the front range. I'm sorry, Casey?
I said he's got great prices. Do check him out.
Yeah, absolutely. More important than anything else, you can trust Paul.
Yes.
And if you don't think that's important, go buy some random used Prius with a destroyed battery pack from a reliable dealer that might kidnap you and clean out your bank account. Okay?
Yeah, take you to the ATM.
Yeah. Just go ahead. Trust's not important. Yeah, right. Sure it isn't. Okay, Mr. Schaefer.
So I do want to remind everyone that you can find us on audio at I forgot. Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, TuneIn,
Spotify.
Let's go with that. Shout outs to Danny Cooper, who does he still live? Is he still a guy?
I saw him in a one-on-one recently. He's around.
That's true. Okay, yes. Who lives only in videos, but does help keep the show going behind the scenes on whatdrives.us. Also to Philip Barclay. And if you use Flipboard as your news aggregator, make sure and look for What Drives Us, because that is where you will see the articles that we cover every week. And Philip and I primarily, as we're flipping through the news, when we find alternative fuel and advanced technology articles, we throw them into Flipboard. So there's some good reading up there. Show titles I've gotten so far is, Bruce threw in a new one here. First one, solar powered Flufferbot.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Bruce came back with Flufferbot Goes North. We have Giant Bong Exhaust, and We've Got You Arrow Covered. So we got some doozies. You got a hard decision to make there, Russell.
I want to use them all. Are you arrow covered?
Yeah.
I think you got
Look at that wall. I mean, it's right there.
That's amazing. I love that. And yeah, solar powered Flufferbot. Yeah, okay, sure. Poor little Flufferbot out there wiping the snow away. I just have this image. I read way too much science fiction. My apologies.
What would be funny is if Flufferbot does just as bad a job at that as he did his first job.
Trying to pick up the snow and failing. I can't do it.
Please don't refer to Flufferbot as he. It ruins the whole image.
Poor Flufferbot. Let's not pick on Flufferbot. Well, I want to thank Tony Schaefer for all the work that he's been putting in lately. All those cool edited videos that you've been able to watch, his reviews. Dude's like coming on strong. What can I say? I think he's actually making a move on me. I'll probably be gone in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, Russell, if you could stick around after the show.
Oh God, are we gonna have that conversation?
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks.
New show title: Russell's Last Show. 3:15 and gone.
Not a chance.
As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for our amazing theme music. You can visit him at manthing.com. Please do. Just don't buy his stuff on CD Baby. Buy it somewhere else. I want to thank everybody on the panel: Mark Coughlin, Tony Schaefer, Patrick Connor, Casey Green, and Paul Guzik. What an amazing show. Nicely done, gentlemen. And of course, the important stuff, right? YouTube.com/whatdrivesus. Do subscribe, do ring the bell. We are at 797. Do we want to get to 1,000? Hell yes, we do. Do I want to see us get over 800 the next day or so? Yes. 3 people. Come on. We need that. Yeah. So youtube.com/whatdrivesus, please. Also, of course, super important. Visit us at patreon.com/whatdrivesusshow. You can subscribe there for as little as $1 a month. That is less than 25 cents per show. $1 a month. $12 a year to support us. We desperately need your help, and we would appreciate any donations that you send. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you who watch and listen. Thanks again, guys, for everything. I appreciate it. Thanks to everybody in the chat room for too many titles that I can't use. Maybe I'll make it all like a big long title and YouTube will truncate it into something weird. No. Whoa, wait a second. Did somebody else have the show before me? I love that. Tune in next week and find out what drives us. Thanks to all of you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.